Hi everyone, Lisa Gifford here, and today we're going to be talking about our second Martelli Sew and Show subscription box. So I got one right here, so we are going to go ahead and open this up and see what's in the box, and then I'm going to show you how to make it. So here's our beautiful box. I'm going to open it up, and oh my goodness, it's all about the butterflies. So we are going to be making the Butterfly Oven Mitt. You're going to get your pattern, you're going to have your instructions in, you're going to get all the templates that you need. So you got some applique templates and you get the butterfly template. You're going to have in it also a big old bag and all the things that's in this bag to be able to make our beautiful Butterfly Oven Mitt. And I've got several different ideas up here for you. So we're going to have a lot of fun putting these together. So you're going to get in this box, you're going to get a fat quarter, I believe, of the main fabric. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to pull out what I have right here. You're going to have your main fabric for the butterfly. You're going to have another fabric that you're going to need for either the lining or it could be used for the back of your butterfly. You're going to have 4 beautiful 8.5-inch squares. This one is, we got a green, we have a blue, we have a purple, and we have a yellow. These are going to be great for, making your little applique pieces to sew onto your wings. You've got a piece of 17 by 17 heat and bond light, and that's why we use the 8.5-inch squares, because you can lay all 4 squares on here and be able to get those applied to that. You're also going to get a fat quarter of cotton batting, and you're going to get a big old piece of the Bosal polytherm, our heat reflecting material. So everything is in here to be able to make your butterfly oven mitt. Now also, forgot, you also get a little piece of rickrack if you want to add the little antenna. You also are going to need a few supplies that you're going to need to be able to make this project that's going to help you with it. Basic sewing supplies, but I have clips. You're going to need some clips. I prefer using the 28mm rotary cutter because it works very well for the curves that's on here. You're going to need possibly use some pins. I'm going to show you, we're going to use the Martelli metallic pin. I'm going to mark our template with that. You're going to need either our precision scissors. I also like to use some duckbill scissors. You're going to need a needle and thread, just a little bit, to be able to sew up the little opening that we're going to be having on here. So those are some of the supplies I recommend. Of course, the basics, your sewing machine, your iron, you're going to have those things. All right, so I think we're going to dive right in and start putting this together. But I'm going to show you, here's some ideas. This is the oven mitt here. How it works, you just slip your hands in like this, and you've got a cute little butterfly oven mitt. Here's another variation of it. Same thing. I got the colorful fabric on the black back, where it's got the black fabric on here. I'm going to show you a couple other things you can do with it. How about if you wanted to just make a cute little mug rug with that butterfly, and perfect size for your big old cup of coffee or your big old cup of tea to set on side, having it with the mug rug. Or, as I did with this one, did the same thing, but instead I put the Martelli famous browning material on it, and it becomes a nice hot pad. So lots of ideas. You could use it, this whole butterfly for applique. There's lots of ideas that you could do, and I'm really excited to see some of the things that you do in making the butterfly oven mitt. So I'm going to pull out the templates so that you can see them. You're going to have these pieces right here, a paisley, a cutout that was inside the paisley to use these two here, and you got this oval here. These I'm using for applique. Of course, there's all kinds of other reasons that you could use them for. Now I've got the template in front of me, the main body of the template. It says Butterfly Oven Mitt. The I and the V means there's instructions and there's going to be a video, what you're watching right now. You're going to see a line right here that says the fold line for the wing, and then you're going to see a line right here where it says cut for batting times 2, and I'm going to show you how to be able to use that. We also have the cut lines already in this so that you can use your rotary cutter, and it'll be very easy to be able to get your rotary cutter into those little grooves there. Comes out perfect. So what I'm going to go ahead and show you is marking this with my metallic pen. There's a difference between the cut line for the batting, and then there's a difference for the fold line. So I'm just going to do the cut, And then this one here is, this side is the fold. On the cut one, on that one here, on the cut one, there is actually a groove where your blade will go all the way through. So you use that for when you're cutting your batting, and I'll show you how easy it is to use that. All right, so that just marked a few little areas on that. I'm going to set some of these things aside. We're going to use our 28mm today. Let's set these over here. That's where I'm going to be needing them the most. And stay all the way through the show, because at the end we got a big surprise for you. So I've got some of the prep work done, but what I have talked about in the instructions is you're going to choose your main fabric that you're going to use for the butterfly. And for that I mean for the butterfly wings. Choose the main fabric that you're going to use for your wings, and on this one I'm using it for the backing. So you're going to choose that fabric, and then you're going to cut a 10.5 by 18 inch strip off of that. And then you're going to fold it in half and cut your wings first. And that would be cutting your wings once you've got that strip cut. So I'm going to grab one of these fabrics and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And that would be this one right here. Set these aside, and we're going to get our fabric out. Now I would prefer that you had everything all ironed and ready to go. So you're going to take your fat quarter and you're going to cut a 10.5 by 18 inch strip, because that piece is what you're going to be needing for your wings. So I've just got it laid out on my main line. I'm going to go ahead and get that cut off, a 10.5. So I already know that is 18 and this is by 22. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut my 10.5 inch piece off right here. Set this piece aside. So this piece here is what is used for your wings. So now you're going to fold it in half. So when you fold this in half this way, now it is going to be 5.25 by 18 inches. So then you're going to take your template, your main template. Remember I said where it says fold for the wing? So you're going to set that fold line right here on that fold where you had folded it. And you're going to cut out 2 of the wings off of a fat quarter. And so I'm just going to line it up on here. I'm lining up that fold line right there on the fold. The fold is on this fold line right here. Go ahead and cut this little piece off, and then we'll be able to maneuver and cut everything off, because you're going to use this second piece to cut your other wing. So I'm rotating it around so I can get to where I need to cut, going back into my cut line, and now I can just go ahead and cut around. See, it just comes right off. And just continue going around and then go right into that cut line. So you'll have one done, and then you're going to do the same thing for the other one. Going to lay that fold right there on there, and you will cut out 2 of the wings, just like that. So I'm going to let that aside because I already have one all cut out. You're going to need 2. So right here, I have my second one. So here are the 2. These are ready to go. So I'm just going to get those done. And then you're going to, from looking at this, with the same template, now you're going to go ahead and cut your cotton batting, because that batting is going to be used in 2 places. Now I want to say something before I go any further. The Bolsel recommends that you use 2 layers of Bolsel. So it's up to you on what you want to do for cutting out. But I'm using just a piece of cotton, and then I'm cutting out a piece of Bolsel. I'm going to grab my cotton, because you're going to be needing to cut a full. Right now we're only focusing on cutting the cotton that goes into the wings that you just did. So you get your piece of cotton batting out, and you're going to lay your template right on top of that. Now I got it hidden, here we go. So just find a spot where you want to lay your template. I'm just going to go ahead and cut around it. And I'm going to show you how you're going to be able to utilize that cut for the batting. So I have my template on here. I'm going to go ahead and just cut all the way around. When you're using the rotary cutter, be sure to keep your fingers never in front of the direction that you are going. Always make sure to keep your hands out of the way. The 28 works very good for all of these curves. All right, so here is the whole thing that's cut out. So what you're going to do, keeping it down, not picking it up, you're going to go ahead and place your blade in where it says cut line for batting, and you're just going to do a cut. Then you're going to flip it over, flip the batting over. Then you're going to lay your template right back down on top of it, exactly lining it up so that you can get your other side cut. You're just going to cut like that. Doesn't cut it all the way through, but you can just get your scissors now and go ahead and cut it all the way up to the edge. It just gives you the two pieces that you need. Now this little centerpiece, you could save it to use for maybe if you want to add it to the center of your, when we make our handle. So I kind of set aside in case I want to put it in my handle piece. So here now are my two pieces for the wings. So what you're going to do is now you're going to take the piece of batting and you're going to sandwich it right there. You're going to open up your wing piece and you're going to sandwich it in there and then fold the fabric back. And then you're going to do that for your other wing. Open it up. This needs to be ironed, and then just set your batting in there and then just lay it back. Just layer it back. Now you're just going to take these two pieces and you're just going to set them aside. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut with that remaining fabric and with the lining. You're going to cut two pieces. You're going to cut the fabric into a 10 by 12 inch rectangle. So I would just grab that extra piece and I would go ahead and cut my 10 by 12 inch rectangle. You're going to do that for your lining piece and you're going to do that for your main fabric. So you would do that, in my case, it's going to be with the black and it's going to be with the color piece. Then you're going to go ahead and cut your batting also into those sizes, and then you're also going to cut your fleece, not fleece, but your polytherm. So here's where you can change it up a little bit. If you really want to have 2 layers of polytherm instead of a cotton and a polytherm, the heat reflective material, or Insulbright is another material that it's called by. So you're going to put your fabric, you're going to layer your fabric onto onto the polytherm. I'm doing cotton and the polytherm, so you would have the polytherm on the back of both of your pieces. I am just doing the cotton. I put my cotton underneath my black material, and then I put the polytherm underneath my main fabric that I'm going to use for the body of my butterfly, which will be the back side of the butterfly. And I have it where it's shiny side up, because being that this is going to be the bottom of the butterfly, like I have with this one, this is where the heat reflecting is where you want it to be. And then if you have the cotton, it's going to be underneath here for the inside, the lining, where you actually see what I call the body of the butterfly. So Once you have those two layered up, you might want to use a little spritz of a basting spray or maybe pin it a little bit. And then I recommend stitching it. So on the black one, I just did some decorative stitches that I have on my machine, and I used some real pretty variegated thread, and I just stitched all these little rows on here. So that's what I put onto this one. On this one, I just did a simple stipple. I'll show it on the back. You could probably see it a little better. I just did a very simple stipple all over it, just so I can get everything that's all secured. You're not going to see as much if you use the black for the inside here. You're just going to see this little bit that's in here. And then on this one, where I actually have it, I put the color on the inside. You just see it a little bit. And in the black, I've got my stripes on here. So there's just, however you want to secure that material onto whatever stitches that you want to do to secure your material to the reflective material and the batting is your preference. So once you have that all completed for that, now you're going to place the butterfly template on both of these pieces, and you're going to go ahead and cut that out. I found it was better to quilt it first on the larger rectangle than it would be to cut it out and then try to quilt it. So this way it was just so much easier. It's already done. So now you're just going to take your template and you're just going to lay it on here. And I'm just kind of center it. I'm looking at one of my lines here and I kind of want it to be right dead center. So you know that line is going to be seen. So I have it right dead center. So now I'm just going to cut all the way around and on. This is the black one. This is what it's going to be inside the lining. And we're just going to get this all cut out. Always keep your hands out of the direction of what your blade is going. Tell you another thing, the reason why I found it was better to do it this way, because I did one where I had quilted it and sewn it after I had it all cut out, then I found that it changed the shape of it a little bit. So this way I know the shape is not going to change once I have used a piece of material that's already been quilted. It's going to not change if I had cut it out and then quilted it. So that's a good little hint for you there. All right, so the lining is all done. There you go. So you're going to set that aside right there up there by your wings that you had made. And now you're going to grab your other piece and we're going to cut another one. So just line it up the way you want. I'm just going to kind of center this. And we're going to go ahead and get this cut out. Now this is the one with the reflective material on it. .28 is going to be the only one that's going to be able to work through some of these little tight areas. Now, if you don't want to use a rotary cutter, you can always just trace it with a marking tool and then just cut it out with your regular scissors. All right, we'll start right here. All right, so those are both all ready to go. They're all cut. So once you get them done, then you're just going to set them aside for later assembly. Now, to make the hanging loop, you're going to cut a piece of fabric that is 2 inches by 7 inches. And you're going to go ahead and just fold it in half. So I'm going to cut me a little strip off of this so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to cut a little 2-inch strip off so that you understand how I am doing my little handle on here. This is a 2.5-inch ruler, so I'm just going to cut just a 2-inch piece off. And you could use it with any material that you have. So I'm just cutting a 2-inch piece, and we're going to try to get to about 7 inches. Doesn't really matter. I'm doing this one at 7 inches because it's just this little hanging loop that's right here. You can add it or you don't have to add it. This is just this little hanging loop that's going to be right here. So how you do this piece is you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to press that, and then you're going to fold both sides in to that crease, and then you're going to fold it over. And that's going to create your little hanging piece. If you want to add a little bit of stability, that little bitty piece that you cut off, which is about 6 inches, it's a little bit smaller, you're going to have to just trim it down to about a 1/2 inch size, and you could lay it in there and you could have it added inside to give it a little stability. Once you get it folded and pressed, then you're just going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to sew a stitch down each side. Once you have that done, it is all ready to go, then just set it aside for the next step. All right, so now we're going to take the 2 wings with your cotton batting. We're going to pick those back up. And then you're going to do a stitch along the edge of the fold, which is going to be a decorative stitch right here. So I've already got one done. So if you could see this, I did a really close stitch right here on this edge, but then right beside it, I added a pretty little decorative stitch right here. So the wings is what takes a little bit of work. So I already got one done, so I'm going to show you how to put this together. So knowing that you need to have opposites, I'm just going to choose which one I want to be for my opposite, and I think I like this one right here. So we're going to go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to do the same stitch that I have right here on this one. I'm going to do this really thin stitch right here along this edge, and then I'm going to just add this pretty little decorative stitch. It's whatever you want to do. It's your butterfly. You can decorate it any way you want. But we're going to go get that stitch on here, and it just adds a cute, nice little touch onto that. So let's go over here to the machine. We're going to get it all started. And I'm using the same thread, the same decorative thread that I had used earlier. I believe I'm using, I think this is Magnifico. It's a great little thread. I'm using, this one's called Cleopatra. It's by Superior Threads. So that's the thread we're using today. So first I'm going to get to where I can get my stitch, and I'm going to raise my stitch length. I'm going to do that first stitch that's going all the way down, making sure that everything is all tucked in there. And we're going to go right there along that edge, and we're going to stitch it real close to the edge. I think it's not even 1/8 of an inch. I think it's more like a 1/16. I've just got really, really close. And then I am going to go to my decorative stitches, and I am going to go ahead and stitch that decorative stitch right there along that edge also. And it just takes a second as it goes down. All right. All right, so I got that stitch all the way down on this one. We're going to go back over here, and it looks just like the other one. So the next step is now we're going to start decorating the wings. So now we're going to do our applique. So you're going to take your pieces of fabric that you had received, and you're going to open up your heat and bond, or whatever material that you might be using, and the 4 8.5 inch squares should fit quite nicely on that 17 inch square piece. And then you're just going to take this to the iron, and then you're going to adhere and secure your 4 fabrics to this, because these are the 4 colors that you get to choose on which ones that you want to use on to your project. Then you're going, and not, you don't have to do applique. If you wanted, you could just do some decorative stitches. You could just do some big swirls on there just to secure it. It's just adding, it's securing that cotton in there. You could go in here and swirl this around. You could do all kinds of things that you would want onto your wings. It's your wings. But I'm going to show you the applique process. So this is the piece that I've appliqued. So I'm going to show you cutting those out. I already have mine pre-cut, but I'm going to go ahead and separate these, and we're going to get these cut out. So super, super easy if you just lay those 4 on there, and then you could just get your cutting done. So on this one, I'm not using the purple. I'm using the blue, the green, and the yellow. So to use the paisley, I'm going to show you how easy it is. And I'm going to show you something that I learned that works real well with these. You're just going to lay your template on here. I don't have the middle piece in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this one paisley. Kind of go around it a little bit just to get it off. And then I'm just going to go all the way around the outside. Keeping my fingers out of the way. Yeah, it clicks a little bit right there. All right, so now my piece is cut. Now, if I needed to have a mirror image, I needed it to go in the opposite direction. What you're going to do, say I needed this to face the other way. So what you do is you flip your material over and then you do your cut on the other side to get your mirror image for the wings. So just remember that particularly for these 2 pieces, if you need to have one going in the opposite direction, then you're going to have to flip the fabric over or fold it in half and cut one. You know, you can fold them together like this, and then you could lay your template on there and cut it out. But you're going to need to make sure you have a mirror image. So this one here, I want to show you another way to cut out that middle center. So you can take your little tiny paisley and you could center it on here, but I've also seen where I could bring it all the way down. I can put this little paisley anywhere I want on this template to get the look that I'm looking for. On this one here, it is centered. It's not down to the middle. So I'm just going to center that little paisley on here. And then you're just going to go ahead and cut around it. So if you don't use this little paisley, you can use it for another project. But I'm just opening this large paisley up. And that should just pop right out. So there you go. So here is the piece. That's the mirror image. And we're going to be placing it on here. Now on this one, I also have the yellow oval. So I just take my yellow and just like with my template, I'm just going to lay this on here and I'm just going to cut. Because it doesn't have they're both the same, I don't have to flip it over. I can cut them all on the one side. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to lay this one on here, and I'm looking to make it similar to the other. So I take the 2 pieces and I kind of have them butted up against each other. Let's see, that's not the one, it's this one right here. It's the one I've already stitched. So I've got it laid out here. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to place it where I want it on here. Now I want you to pay attention to this. You don't want your paisley or your applique places to be too close to any of these edges, because that is your seam allowance here. If I was to move this out, this might get caught into the seam allowance. So you're going to bring it in so that they kind of match on both sides, but knowing that you have plenty of clearance right here for when you do your 1/4 inch stitch all the way around. And then you're going to take your other piece that you cut out and you're going to kind of line it up similar to what you have on this, what I have on this one. And then I went ahead and cut my blue paisley. I could use my yellow paisley if I wanted, but I'm using a blue and I'm going to have it setting right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and remove the backing. I find if I just score it with my precision scissors just a little bit, it lifts it up a little so I can easily pull off that paper. Give it a little score, and it comes right off. And score the last one. So there's my pieces. So we're going to go to the ironing station and we're going to go ahead and get these pressed on there. So I'm going to reposition it, getting it to match pretty close to what I have on the other side. First I'm going to give my wing a press after I got done stitching it. Just kind of smooth everything out. I'm matching it up against the edge so I can see how close I can get for that mirror image. Lay my template, my little applique piece on here. I'm getting as close to looking like the other side as I can. Once I think I got it into the position, then you're just going to take your iron and just set it on there. Don't move it, just set it on there, and that's going to heat up that glue that's on the back and seal those in there really good. Just securing them down. I'm going to give you a quick hint. If you're working with applique, and you can see it here, and you really wanted these colors to pop a little bit more, on your fabric you can add a piece of short fuse or a woven stabilizer onto the back of your fabric pieces before you cut them out, and then add the heat and bond to the whole thing. What it's going to do, it's going to make it so that your colors underneath do not bleed through, and these colors will pop a little bit better. But that's just a hint for doing applique. All right, so I got these secured, no loose edges. So then we're just going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to just applique this down. And I'm just doing a basic blanket stitch going around the perimeter and the interior of the large paisley, and then going around the oval and the exterior of the small paisley. So that's all we're going to be doing. That's our next step. And you will be doing that for both of your pieces. So I am just going to set this up and get into my applique settings. That's not it. Hold on. There it is. All right, found it. And this looks like I'm just doing a pretty basic blanket stitch. So on my machine, I believe it is setting number 6. So I'm just going to find a little spot. I don't think I worry about too much about underneath because this is never seen. You could go ahead and pull your thread up if you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and just find a spot to start. And we're going to go ahead and applique all the way around. We're going to do the inside of the paisley. We're going to go ahead and get our big oval done. And then our last, our little paisley. I hear a different noise. All right. I've got that done. So grab your little scissors and just trim away any of your threads that you have on top. Try and get those out of the way. And if you see some threads you want to remove from the bottom, just go ahead and get those trimmed down. Okay, and that is both of your pieces done for the wings. So the wings are all completed. And by doing that little stitching and that little bit of applique, what it is doing, it is securing that batting on the inside so it's not going to shift or move on you. All right, so once we have that completed, I think the next step is where we're going to start doing our layering. So hold on, let me make sure to here. So we're going to grab our pieces here. Get my glasses out so I can see what I'm doing. So you're going to grab your rickrack at this point. So you have a little 6-inch piece is all you're needing, a little 6-inch piece. And you're going to go ahead and make sure it's 6 inches, fold in half, and with the lining piece, and that's the one with the cotton batting, this one right here, you're going to get to your center. You're going to take your little rickrack and you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to clip, pin, or you can use a basting stitch. So I kind of fold it in half and just sort of spread it out just a little bit so it's kind of in a V. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to set it right there in the center of this line right here. So then I'm going to clip that in place. I'm just going to hold it and put a clip right there because I'm going to take it to the machine and I'm going to baste that down with a little bit of a stitch right there. And then that will hold it in place. And then I'm going to do, I think, the same thing. We do that with our little binding piece that we have made, or not our binding, but our handle. And there we go, got our handle. That's also going to get basted, but it gets put into a different spot. So let's just go ahead. We're going to start with layering everything up. So you're going to have the one with the cotton batting. You're going to lay this down. It's got your little wings right here. I'm going to do a quick basting because now we're going to be layering everything up. And when we layer it, you're not going to see it. So I like to just bring it to my machine and do a quick little stitch over top of it. It just holds it in place, and I do it at about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So it's not going to be seen in the seam allowance. It's just going to hold it. That's one less clip that you're going to be using to keep that in place. So that is just quickly basted on, just tacked in that spot, my little antenna, because when I flip it out, they're going to be seen. So now we're going to get the layering done because there's a trick to this. So I want to make sure you understand what we're doing. So now we're going to grab our wings and we're going to attach them. We're going to place them on here, your 2 wing pieces, and they're going to be right side up, just like this. So it's almost looking like your butterfly piece right here. And you got it just lining up all of your edges, making sure everything is lining up really, really nicely, right along the edges, all these edges right here. Now this is where you take your little handle piece, and you're going to fold it also in half. And then you're going to find a spot that you want to lay the raw edges, and for me, I'm going to place it about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a clip there because we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to do a quick little basting stitch right here. You do not put it between the lining and the wing. You put it on top of the wing because this piece is going to be going on last. So we're going to just kind of gently pick all this up, and I'm going to go to the machine. I'm going to do a quick little basting stitch. You could put this little handle on either side. I prefer to put it right here. And I'm making sure everything is lined up as I do my quick little right there on the edge, about a 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch in. And just holding it down. I usually would do a wider stitch, but let's just stitch it. It's just holding it in place. So it's not going to shift or move when we start putting the last layer on. So here is where I want this to be. Now you're going to grab this is going to be your back, but it's going to go on top with the bolsole. It's going to be on top. And you're going to lay all of this on top of all of these pieces. Just like this, and now you're going to start getting your clips, and you're going to clip everything all the way around. But now you also got to find, where am I going to leave my little 2 to 3 inch opening, probably about a 3-inch opening. I don't have a lot of straight edges here, so I look for an edge that's going to be easy for me to put it in. And for me, it seems like I'm always doing them more up here on the top, like right here. So I'm thinking this area right here, before I get to this little notch here, is probably where I'm going to leave my opening. It's going to be on the opposite side of where I have placed my handle. So I'm going to use a couple of red clips for this because that's going to be my start and my stop. So making sure everything is lined up and even. I'm going to put a red clip here, and I'm going to put a red clip probably about right here. Give it about a 2 or 3 inch opening. So that's going to be my opening for when we go to turn it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and get my clips done all the way around, securing all the layers with these clips. I'm going to put one right over top of, I'm putting a red clip right over top where my handle is so I know that that's what's coming. And then just continue getting all of your clips all the way around. And one more right here. All right, so that's how it should be looking. You should see the batting, and you should see the polytherm or the insole right here. So now we're going to just take it to the machine, and now we're going to sew all the way around, ensuring to back tack at each of the opening, and then we're going to clip it and get everything ready to be turned out. I want to make sure I got a good size opening here. So I'm going to start here and stitch. I'm going to pivot, come across, pivot, go all the way around. And I'm doing this at a 1/4 inch all the way around. Confirming that everything is all lined up. So do a good back tack here. And then just take your time and stitch across. Coming up to my last red clip. Good back tack right there. Now before you do any of your clipping, I want you to make sure that you got all of your layers. Just take the time to kind of see if all of your layers are in there. I just kind of run my finger through, making sure everything is caught. And it looks like everything is in there. So if you wanted to do this, you could take the time and maybe trim away some of this excess material, but it's not really important. You're not doing a top stitch on any of this. So you could just leave it. So the next step you really have got to do is now we got to start clipping all of our curves. So, and then you got these points right here. You got points here, and you got these angles right here. So you're going to clip into those areas, being careful to not clip your stitches. And give it a couple, like 2 or 3 little clips. That's right there where it bends. You're going to be releasing some of that stress that is right there, so it will lay nice and smooth when you go to flip it out. So just be sure to not clip your stitches. This one here. Excuse me. There's a lot of thickness right here, so I want to make sure I'm flipping it over. So now once you get that, you're just going to start clipping your curves all the way around. If you want, you could grab your pinking shears and you could just pink it all the way around. But I'm just going to use my clips. Just go all the way around, clipping all of my curves. And there's a lot, so it's pretty much around the whole thing. Getting up to where my handle is. And just keep clipping. And I'm probably clipping about, for this one, about a 1/2 inch apart all of my little clips. Just being careful to not cut into any of those stitches. I'm getting to where I've got the points on the other side, the angles. I'm going to go ahead and get those, my 3 little clips there and there. Make sure it's all clipped real good there. And just continuing going around. Again, they're about a 1/2 inch apart, or about a thumb's width. Right, so here's my opening. So I'm not going to do any clipping on the curve of the opening. So I did my last clip there, and I got a couple clips, stitches, curves right here at the other edge of the opening. And that's it. So everything is now all clipped. So now you're just going to reach inside and you're just going to go ahead and flip it out. So I'm going to grab my little knitting needle and we're going to start flipping it out. Get some of these things out of our way. So this is probably the hardest part. So you're just going to reach inside. So what I'm looking at is I see my wings and I see what my backing is. So we're just going to go inside. I'm going to try to get as far to the edge as I can get so I can kind of grab that and push it through. That's why you want a good size opening. Sometimes you might have to release those stitches if you needed a little bit more space. This one might be a little bit tight. Just takes a second. Once you get started going, you're just kind of pushing it through. Almost there. All right, there we go. Pretty much got all of it. I'll just kind of push it out. Get the other side pushed out. Grab your handle. Maybe that will help pull some of it through. And once you get most of it out, then you're just going to grab your knitting needle or a tool that you would use to smooth out all those edges, just kind of pushing it through, pushing it out. And then get to the other side. Just smoothing and pushing and running whatever tool that you're using to smooth out those seams. Do it all the way around. You can also go on the inside of where your hands go, and you can help push it out that way too to get some of these other areas that might be a little hard to get to. And that is pretty much all you need to do. So the last step would be to just sew your opening closed. And this is done hand stitching. So I'm not going to do the hand stitching for you today, but just go ahead and fold them in, do a little bit of finagling. You might need to trim away some of that excess material if it's in your way, but you're going to kind of fold it in, tuck it in, and get it to where it looks nice. Give it a good press, and then hand stitch it closed. Sometimes just using a little bit of glue to kind of help hold these over till you get to that hand stitching place. But I'm going to go with the iron. We're going to give it a little bit of a press so you can see how well it's looking. Press it out on the back. And if I had the time, I would go ahead and work on tucking all this in and then pressing it, or get you some clips to hold it in place so that you can just take it and just do a quick hand stitch, just do a simple like little ladder stitch on it. And then your oven mitt is complete because you really don't do a top stitch on this. So that is it. That is our little oven mitt. So, and like I had showed you earlier, I had made so many other things with it. I'm going to show you a little bit about the process of when I'm creating and making these. Sometimes I come up with some duds that just did not work very well, like this one. So I wanted to have more of a body here and here. Didn't like that look at all. Did it again with this one, didn't like it. I ended up just cutting that off. And then this one here, another little prototype, just playing with the fabrics. And I realized it was too small. Couldn't really get a good size hand in there. So I go back to the drawing board and you make it a little bit bigger. So that is the oven mitt. And I hope you thoroughly enjoy playing with it, seeing what other things. It'd be great for an applique project. Of course, some of the things I also did was making the nice little mug rug here with just a little bit of cotton batting on the inside. Get some of our brown material, and it'd be a nice little hot pad for you to have in your kitchen. Now, one more thing, because you are one of our subscribers who have gotten the Sew and Show box, we have an added goodie for you that's going to be available for those of you who are subscribers to purchase to add to your collection. And I'm going to show you what that is. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Here we go. How would you like to make a butterfly placemat? So we're going to have this up so that you would be able to make kind of a matching butterfly placemat. Here's my very first prototype of it. And this is the big template that you have. It's called Butterfly Placemat. It's got the fold line. Video instructions. Pretty much we're going to have all of that for you. I'm going to write a quick tutorial on how I made this. But when I see this, and this is a nice size, I think it finishes out at 8, I'm very sure it's 14 by 18, but I'm going to put it right here on my mat. It finishes out at 14 inches by 18 inches. It is a great size placemat that you can brighten up your table for the spring and summer. Just adorable. Now, when I see this template, I see this project, I see other things. So what if you had made a bunch of these and you wanted to make a table runner, because it's the perfect width at that 14 inches for a table runner. So you could kind of take your butterflies, make several of them, and just kind of lay them tip to tip, just like this, and just have them flipping back and forth and be a cute little table runner. You could also have them running front to front, like this, and have them going all the way across your table. So I see a nice table runner here that you could make with them. Of course, the placemat you could make with them. I've even been thinking, I bet this would make a cute bag if I put two of these together, maybe add a gusset to the middle, maybe cut off a little bit right here. This would be an adorable bag where I could put little handles here, a little strap. I see lots of possibilities with what we're calling the butterfly placemat. So if you love what you'll see it, and so be sure to pick one up today, and it's a great complement to your butterfly oven mitt. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for being a part of the Martelli Sew and Show subscription box. If you want to get yours, be sure to click on the link and it'll take you right there so that you can get to the next one. This is the one that's getting mailed out on March. So the next one's going to be mailed out the first day of April. So you don't want to miss out on the fun, because not only do you get all the goodies to make the project, but you're going to have extra things that you can get later that is exclusive to you. All right, everybody, this is Lisa Gifford. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and enjoy the video. And I can't wait to see the projects that you made, because the Sew and Show, it's all about sewing it and showing it, and put yourself in for a drawing. All right, everybody, have a good day. Bye-bye.